Coming to you straight from the Rio Grande and beyond. Broadcasting to the four corners of the globe. So grab your seat, your coffee, or your sundowner.
Okay, everybody, here we go.
On point, as always. This is Gloves Off. Gloves Off.
Mr. Huffines, I got a series of questions.
Yes.
My name is George Saldana. We spoke a little before the meeting this afternoon, but I'm tied into Team 2503. I'm the founder of this organization, and in the past we have tried to petition our government the correct way. We have tried to legislate, and we have come up before roadblocks. What I think is corruption, I think a lot of parents think is corruption within our legislature. And it probably is dealing with what you were saying is the elite. Our team, my group has 10,000 members, over 10,000 members, but I have access to 100,000 and probably more with the other groups that I'm affiliated with. We're looking for judicial reform. We're looking for access and visitation with these judicial orders that we have. Because they are not being enforced on the civil side or the criminal side. So a lot of parents, and it's not just fathers, but mothers too. We represent mothers that don't have access. We educate grandparents as well, because grandparents want to be in the lives of their grandchildren as well, and they play a huge role in the child's development. Legislative support is what we're asking for as well, because again, we're going to our legislator, and then we're getting lobbyists are taking control. It's not no more the people petitioning. Now we have bigger government, and, just corruption from everywhere. One of my questions that our group came up with is, what are your top priorities for improving the broken family court system and the parent-to-child relationship?
Well, divorce is obviously a very tragic situation for any couple. It's something that we don't want to have happen at all. We can look at having more stringent or tougher divorce laws, particularly when children are involved, and maybe look at having no fault divorce when children are involved. As it's important for the family to stay together. Having a together intact family is of course critical to having a great relationship with those children. When the children it's bad enough when children are involved in a divorce because it can be generational. It's with the lies that goes on, the vindictiveness, the bitterness that comes with it is terrible. So right now we've got a situation where our family court of law judges are not the best. Matter of fact, I think they're probably some of the worst judges we have in the system. I get more complaints when I was a senator on the family court of laws than all the other ones combined easily. I am the only legislator that submitted term limit bills. And I know this is a long-term solution, but to have term limits on all judges, and particularly family court of law judges, but it's a long-term solution. My proposal is 12 years. I could lower it to 8. That'd be fine with me. I think we need the 50-50 into law with teeth in it. It's very common in the legislature. We pass laws with not much enforcement provisions in them, and who's really going to enforce it? So we need to make sure we enforce the laws, and we hold the violators accountable.
Our group, of course, I founded my organization, but I have a huge team behind me that's helping us run this organization now. And we have moms and we have dads that can't access their children civilly in a judicial family court, and we can't have law enforcement enforce the orders. So therefore, these orders that are given to us are just not even worth the piece of paper they're on. With that being said, child support reform, Title 4D, the state of Texas, of course there's no such thing as a free lunch, I get it. But Title 4D, the state of Texas is getting $12.30 on every dollar they use to collect, off of every dollar. $12.30 for every dollar. That's
That's 12 to 1 multiple.
Right.
Yeah.
So when they make 91% of non-custodial men, a lot of these children are losing out on it. And of course, I started this organization to be in my child's life. I'm still running this organization because I want to change. I don't want my son to become what I've had to do. And so it's important that we bring the family, and this isn't a father's rights movement. It's not, because we believe that the nuclear family has to include a mother. There's things that mothers can do, and there's things that fathers can bring to the child for the well-being of the child. Can we depend on you for to just look at maybe child support reform to work with the Attorney General?
Of course you can. I'm here for your group, and that's not just political rhetoric. I don't care what the money is. I'm trying to get us all, I'll be trying and working to get us all the federal funds off of that addiction. And I would never let justice, money get in the way of justice. That's not even in my
The statistics we pulled, 91% of non-custodial parents in the state of Texas by the Texas Attorney General are males.
Yes.
Which is huge. There's no equality anywhere. They say, we live in a world now where everybody wants transparency and equality, and right now we have a bunch of fathers wanting to be in their children's lives, and we're being blocked by legislation. And then we see these numbers, and they don't say what the state is saying. The state has paid with federal grant money for what's in the best interest of the child, yet the state doesn't use their research they bought to educate these family court judges. For instance, of course, again, I'll state it again, 91% of non-custodial parents in the state of Texas are of men. 90% of runaways come from fatherless homes. Now we get into sex trafficking, which is another huge topic. So of that 91%, 90% of the runaways of that 91%, 90% of runaways come from fatherless homes. A third of those 90% are at high risk at being sexually trafficked within 48 hours. So that's how important it is for parents, not just fathers, to know the whereabouts of where their children are and if they're okay. And when you remove a father, I don't know what my daughter is doing on TikTok right now. And that's a huge concern for me, the way things have evolved. So the next question is, what will you do about blatant discrimination in our Texas schools?
Well, the legislature and the House and the Senate in particular, we've got this issue right now with other judges. And we should really look at impeaching these judges as enforcement. We need to impeach them. If we impeached a couple of them, the rest are going to shape up. Because they don't have, like I said, there's no recourse right now in the system. Well, what are you going to do? Well, we could fine them. Well, they maybe, but they don't care. Well, you impeach them, they're in it for the job. They're in it for the money. And once we can start really putting the hammer down on them. And on your stats there, you didn't mention how many young men without fathers end up in prison.
Right. There's 80% of juveniles that come from fatherless homes end up in the system, and it's disturbing. We've been to town hall meetings for juvenile justices where they're asking the public for mentorship. Mm-hmm. Yet we try to go first, third, and fifth Friday to pick up our child, and we're denied by law enforcement, and then we have to file within a family court to try to see our children again. From my experience, just on a simple motion to enforce, going to the family civil court, I had a motion for enforcement for 3 years with with 18 resets, which cost me money.
Yes.
And that needs to stop, because now
Yes.
you're using children as a way of I guess, funding the judicial system. And there's no judicial confidence in that when that happens. So I agree with you. I think I would like to see Texas be more proactive in awarding parents for co-parenting instead of fueling the fight and let's do this, let's do that. But if you two can get along and go to 3 PTA meetings together, then we'll throw this incentive at you. Because right now they give a lot of incentives for domestic violence, which parents use protective orders as they weaponize them to keep the child away from that other parent. Mm-hmm. But I think instead of being reactive, I would like to see the state be proactive and try to bring the family together and give an incentive for bringing the family in the best interest of the child.
I think it's a great idea, and it's certainly something the state should do.
If I may, on that issue,
If I may.
I'm sorry, I was
Go ahead.
about that issue.
Okay, go ahead.
The Office of Juvenile Justice, which is run by the governor, could easily resolve this matter because they get millions of dollars from the federal government. They could easily create a committee or a commission and propose to the legislature those issues and come out with a positive incentive program. But at this point, when you have the best interest, and I tell you this because I'm a judge, I was a judge for 30 years plus, they don't give you a list of, they say best interest as a principal, but they don't tell you a list of principles or issues they need to follow, except for what the judge says. Mm-hmm. And based on whatever the judge thinks is what's going to happen. Mm-hmm. And the result is, of course, the discretionary result is what happens here. So if you were to be in the Texas legislature, or the governor that is, he could easily do a commission, propose a list of potential incentives like that, and make that the law. He has control over that.
Sure, I think it's
I
fine.
don't think the governor has ever done that.
I doubt it. Well, I'll be happy to. I'm going to work on it because I think the family is a pillar of our society. It's the pillar of our education, our faith, our health. It's everything, and it's generational life. And so we've got to make sure that we have strong traditional families, and that's what it means to have Texas values. And of course,
One last question, Doctor.
yes.
So what I've heard you say is that you have a strong belief in family cohesiveness. You have a strong belief in fundamental liberties. And we have a problem in Texas. And what they're elucidating basically is that our kids in Texas post-divorce are losing their parents. And this has a tremendous effect on kids.
Yes.
A negative effect. And we would like to offer those kids as close of the benefits as kids that are still in married situations. I think one of the main differences you see between kids and couples and married or cohabitating situations is whatever issues may be going on are really kind of hidden. Because when you stay together, all those issues are stayed within the family, some more severe than others. It's only when they're not together and when the divorce industry gets a hold of it that some of those problems get exposed, so to speak. But it doesn't mean they're any worse or any less than problems in cohesive families. The outcomes for kids are just not as good, potentially not as good, and certainly you can't generalize it to say the outcomes are 100% not as good, because there's always outliers. But there is a system, and I think I'm 58, and with all due respect, you look at these 30. So you've gone through life long enough. Well, okay, where since the 60s and 70s there was this system that we all get kind of accommodated to, and we just think it's the norm, you know. The parents get divorced or separated, and the dad, you know, gets a certain amount of time. But what we forget to mention, or to focus on, is that the child loses one of their parents. And that has a tremendous impact on the child, you know, relative to the other parent. And sometimes the child loses one of the parents totally, whether they want to or not.
Right.
And so there are great challenges, there are great forces that exist to keep this system going and perpetuating. Mm-hmm. And those are going to be great challenges. And I'm wondering if it sounds like you are definitely aware of this. And what challenges do you think you might face with special interest groups that would be getting in the way of this, or challenges that you're going to have to contend with? Because maybe interrupted.
No, no problem. I was just going to say that anytime we see beyond the obvious, that's the motto I use for my company, seeing beyond the obvious. And it gets difficult because it's hard for people to catch the vision and to operate outside of the paradigms. And I say that often in my talks, in my speeches, that our paradigm of the past and the present is never going to dictate our future in the Huffines administration. We have to get creative. We have to stop operating in the way we've been operating. I mean, one thing that I've thought of on this issue over the years is conflict resolution, for instance. How do we resolve conflict with couples? How do couples resolve conflict? Most people resolve conflict in their marriage by however their parents did it. How did your parents solve conflict? Did they do it in front of the children? Did they do it behind closed doors, or did they never do it? So maybe we have conflict resolution training where it can be process oriented and it can keep couples together. The first priority really is to keep the divorce from happening to begin with. And if we stop that, particularly with children, if we stop the divorce with children and we get the couples back together, that really should be, I think, our first way to look at it, first focus. And look, I say this often. I mean, I say this to my children and all. They're God bless them. I've got great in-law. They've made great choices, but there can be bad years in a marriage. I mean, you can have a bad year, and I say you can have a bad decade. You really can. But if you're going to be married for 50 or 60 years, you still got 75% of a great life. It could be the last decade. That's the very best decade. Think of it that way. If both the man and the woman would think of it in a long-term consequence, instead of just, it's about me. You know, how's my happiness? What's happening with me? My children don't this, and it just goes on. It's all personal. No, it's not. It's about the unit. It's about the family. And it's a long-term process. Let's talk about how many decades you can get along instead of how many months you don't get along. Let's talk about conflict resolution. Let's talk not just counseling. Counseling is some of these counselors have a motivation not to make it work. Some are good, some aren't. And these judges don't necessarily have a motivation to make it work out. And I can tell you the attorneys have no motivation to make it work out. They're trying to make money. The bigger the conflict, the more money they're going to make. And if they can postpone the hearings, well, that's great. That would cost, that's $300 going down there for that hearing. Maybe $500, maybe $700, depending on who you got. And the judges are going to postpone it. They never want to make a call. I've been in the court system, not in the family court system, but I've got a great Court Accountability Act I've focused on to put timelines, deadlines on these judges. Make them make a decision. They don't want to make a decision because they're going to eat coffee, drink coffee, and break bread with these attorneys. And it's who do you know, who do you not know, what favors are you going to do for me? Believe me, the attorneys, the judge you might know, usually call the judge way in advance. Say, hey, I need a postponement. What do you think? Well, I don't know. Let me talk about that. So we've got problems in the court system. We've got problems in our family. We've got problems in our faith. We've got to get people. We need to get. It benefits people to have more faith in God. And marriage is a covenant with God. It's a covenant with God. And if couples need to understand that. This isn't a covenant to jump over a broom and make agreement with, whatever. This is a covenant with God. And that was the intention. And so if they really get that in their foundation, they'll stay together longer.
I don't think that. I agree with you. I was born and raised Catholic myself, and still a practicing Catholic. And but in the reality of the situation,
Yeah, it doesn't work.
when that's not going to
Yeah.
exist,
I get it.
and we still want to offer our kids
Yes.
the best that we can offer them.
Absolutely agree.
And we have the science, we have the statistics, versus, you know, the good old boy network, so to speak, I'll describe it as. And I think you touched upon it, just use different terms. We would like this to change. Many states are getting or are progressive and have made this change ahead of Texas, including Kentucky, of all places. And I mean that not as a criticism of Kentucky, but I would expect and want Texas to be a little bit more progressive in this realm than a lot of states.
Well, I have found Texas is very stagnant in a lot of areas, including family law. And it's just hard to get anything done in the legislature because they just don't want to move. But I totally agree. I'm sure there's so many better ways to do it than we're doing it. And I'm happy to get a commission going or people in the space to really make the decision. Besides part of the current good old boy network and the bureaucracy that currently exists. We need to, I'm all for shaking things up.
Right now, we have the ombudsman that does oversight for a lot of issues, but is there any way that we can make another oversight committee for, we have tried to report police officers, district attorneys, we've tried to talk to the Attorney General himself, Ken Paxton. We've tried to petition the government. We've reached out to Governor Greg Abbott. And everything as a grassroots organization, I guess my first question is, what are you going to do for us little people that want to get a hold of you? Because we don't have any other avenues. We've gone through the chain, and now we're at the top, and still nobody's listening to us. Can we get a commission or started to where I can comfortably report something? I know CPS is a huge issue right now, and there's a lot of state reps that are taking these, reports of CPS taking children illegally from the parent based on allegations. Due process is being overlooked by these judges. They're just simply taking this. And in my case, CPS lied and said they did a full investigation. And of course, I brought it to CPS. CPS said, no, they didn't lie. And then after that, I filed with the ombudsman. The ombudsman said, yeah, CPS lied, but there's nothing we can do about it.
Right.
So I have a protective order against my daughter based on CPS lying,
Right.
and then there's no, now
no recourse for you.
Right.
Yeah.
So if elected, what can you do to ensure that these people, because we know CPS is a problem. I mean, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And when you have so many people and the behavior just continues, that's where these little grassroots organizations are popping up, because people are wanting to it's almost on civil disobedience right now. You have a lot of fathers that want to burn Texas down because they just want to be with their children.
I don't doubt it. It's very frustrating.
It is frustrating.
And
Gracias, Omena. Do you have any plans to get people in every position in Texas accountable for their jobs? I think what is lacking is people that have been there for too long. I just think they're just getting by doing enough. Mm-hmm. They are not going for the extra mile, not to raise the bar. So I guess if we have every person in every position in the government, I guess things will solve. I mean, like if a judge is forced to turn in 30 cases a month, he just does 29 to 31. He does some work an extra day to get 50. And we're just going behind everything because nobody holds them accountable for what they are doing or they say they were chosen for. And I guess that's when it's like you said that you're a business owner. I mean, you know who you're going to promote. The person that does and goes the extra mile.
yes, sir. Right.
And in here, every position in Texas, they don't go the extra mile.
No.
They just get enough or do enough, and with that they seem to be very happy, and I don't think that technology and the way the world is now is good enough anymore.
Well, I totally agree. And of course, that's what government does, is mess up things. I mean, most of the time the legislature is just fixing things we
Yeah,
already
like for
tried to
example,
fix.
I don't want you to go and start picking up garbage because that's not what you're there for. Like most of the people running for any position, I mean, to me makes me wonder who's not doing their job, that a higher position has to go on the weekends to clean up the parking lots.
Absolutely.
Well, here's what I would say, guys, on this issue and every issue in the state of Texas, really. It starts with leadership, no excuses. It's really with the governor. The governor has the bully pulpit. The governor can set the tone. The governor can do a lot of things. But you have to have leadership. You have to have a governor that wants to help, that's willing to help, that's willing to listen. And that's what I'm going to be. To give you an idea on Abbott right now, your agriculture commissioner, Sid Miller, has been in there 8 years, same as Abbott. Number one industry in the state of Texas. He said Abbott refuses to talk to him, call him, and he's never met with him. Never even called him back on the phone, and Sid Miller says he calls him every other month. That's how detached our governor is from the state of Texas. I'm not at all surprised he's never met with you. I've talked to people, the only people he ever meets with are his donors, his big money people. But as far as running the state, he's completely missing in action. It's not going to happen in Huffines' administration. I'm here to solve the problems and attack them as quickly and as effectively as possible. Because we're on all these issues, we're running out of time. There's no reason not to. I came into my life figure out why they don't want to stop the sexual mutilation of our children under 18. We can't get the Republicans and can't get Abbott to work on that. I've been working with Jeff Younger, and on that issue. He's endorsed my campaign. When his son, the court just ruled, he's the one that his ex-wife is trying to sex change his son, and it's horrible. It's just a horrible situation. But Abbott doesn't care. I've been working on it for years with Jeff. So.
Well, number one, I'm gonna interject real quick.
Of course.
All these problems that we have and all the problems that are here in Texas, they're not gonna get fixed if we don't have somebody inside. So my vote is with you.
Thank you so much. God bless.
Not only that, we need to change a lot of things that go on. It's frustrating to a lot of people. You know what was told to me was, why do you want to change from Abbott? Well, number one, he tried to destroy my business. How's that? Well, he closed us down. And he goes, and that's a Republican. Well, my mayor's a Democrat, and the whole city council are Democrats, and they wanted to close my business. So I'm going to go with a person that says it's straightforward. And thank you for coming.
You're welcome. Thank you. I appreciate it.
And the reason for this is because all of us here have hurt in one form or another, especially in Texas, and we love our state. We love our families. We love our children. My daughter's right there and very proud of her. And we need to keep going forward. And we need to keep going forward in the right direction. A lot of people say we have to progress. Okay, you can progress downward, you can progress all different ways you can progress. Let's just keep going forward in the way it's supposed to be done. You know, a long time ago it used to say a man would shake hands. A contract was a shake of a hand. And here it is.
Mm-hmm.
It's done. Now they want to turn it into a fist bump. I go, no, you shake a hand of someone. Mm-hmm. When the hand's extended, you grab it, you shake hands with it. You don't fist bump it. Okay? We have to bring back our men and our women, because we have great women leaders here in Texas as well.
So
Thank you.
Thank you
For standing up.
Thank you very much.
You, George.
Yes, thank you.
Thank
George.
every single person that came here, because everybody has an issue that's burning inside that needs to be changed. And we're all here.
I'd just like to thank you because we're a smaller grassroots organization and we've reached out to politicians on all levels. And it always seems like you're the peons, and it means a lot to us and our group when we actually get somebody's attention to hear our complaints. And we're, again, our group is only 10,000 people throughout the state of Texas, but we're affiliated with other groups that are 100, 110, 125,000. And everybody knows that somebody that's divorced, because the divorce rate is at 60%,
Yes.
and they all have family, baby mama or baby daddy drama. So I just want to thank you for giving us the opportunity to come out here and answer all the questions that we have for you.
Well, I appreciate the opportunity to come, really. It's my job as governor is to listen to you. I want them to listen to all the grassroots, listen to all Texans on the issues that's concerning them. Because I learned a long time ago that you guys have the solutions.
One, I'm gonna interject real quick, of course. All these problems that we have and all the problems that are here in Texas, they're not gonna get fixed if we don't have somebody inside. So my vote.
Thank you so much. God bless.
We're all gonna we need to change, not only that, but we need to change a lot of things that go on. There's a lot, it's frustrating to a lot of people. You know what was told to me was, why do you want to change from Abbott? Well, number one, he tried to destroy my business. How's that? Well, he closed us down. And he goes, and that's a Republican. He goes, my mayor's a Democrat, and the whole city council are Democrats, and they wanted to close my business. So I'm going to go with a person that says it's straightforward. And thank you for coming.
You're welcome. Thank you. I
And
appreciate it.
the reason for this is because all of us here have hurt in one form or another, especially in Texas, and we love our state. We love our families. We love our children. My daughter's right there. I'm very proud of her. And we need to keep going forward. And we need to keep going forward in the right direction. A lot of people say we have to progress. Yeah, you can progress downward. You can progress all different ways you can progress. Let's just keep going forward in the way it's supposed to be done. You know, a long time ago, it used to say a man would shake hands. A contract was a shake of a hand. And here it is. It's done. Now they want to turn it into a fist bump. I go, no. You shake a hand of someone. When a hand's extended, you grab it, you shake hands with it. You don't fist bump it. Okay? We have to bring back our men and our women, because we have great women leaders here in Texas as well. Thank you.
Thank you
For standing up.
Thank you very much.
You, George.
Yes, thank you.
Thank
George.
every single person that came here, because everybody has an issue that's burning inside that needs to be changed. And we're all here.
I'd just like to thank you because we're a smaller grassroots organization and we've reached out to politicians on all levels. And it always seems like you're the peons, and it means a lot to us and our group when we actually get somebody's attention to hear our complaints. And we're, again, our group is only 10,000 people throughout the state of Texas, but we're affiliated with other groups that are 100, 110, 125,000. And everybody knows that somebody that's divorced, because the divorce rate is at 60%,
Yes.
and they all have family, baby mama or baby daddy drama. So I just want to thank you for giving us the opportunity to come out here and answer all the questions that we have for you.
Well, I appreciate the opportunity to come, really. It's my job as governor is to listen to you. I want them to listen to all the grassroots, listen to all Texans on issues that's concerning them. Because I learned a long time ago that you guys have the solutions. I'm not some know-it-all sitting in an ivory tower thinking I've got the resolutions, the solutions.
to all these issues. I want to hear from you. That's why I'm here, because I value your opinions, I value your issues, and we're here to solve them. I want to get the things solved and come up with solutions.
Thank you.
Thank you.